Welcome to Birthing Purpose with Lana. We have Jay Floyd. He is a motivational speaker, life coach, MC, and actor. His latest movie, A State of Mind, will be released June 20th. He is also the author of The Driver's Seat, which is a step-by-step guide to getting out of the back seat of your life and getting into purpose. That's what it's all about. How you doing, Jay? Thanks for
I'm
being
doing great.
here.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yes, we have to hear your journey because you
Yeah.
got a lot of babies. God is giving you a lot of gifts.
I'm
So we
I'm
need
like
to hear how you walked into it all, and so you can be a blessing to someone out there.
I have
Yeah.
a ton of babies. Yeah, I've been really blessed. Yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about gender reveal. I tell people who are struggling with identifying what God has called them to do to ask themselves these questions. What is the theme of your life?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do well with the least amount of effort? What do people compliment you for? What are you passionate about? What population do you want to affect? What problem do you want to solve? And can your theme, your gifts, your passions all be merged to do what it is God has called you to do? So, author, was writing always the theme of your life? Acting, were you always acting in school? Like all these hats you wear, was this always the theme of your life as a little boy?
Yes. You know what? Yeah, I won't say always. When I was really young, I was like really quiet, really shy.
Okay.
I didn't speak much. I had an older brother and my mom, and it was just the three of us. We were
Right,
locked in doing
right,
that thing, man. And
right.
I was the shy, quiet one. But as time went on, my mom would tell me she always wanted to be a writer.
Mm.
And she gave up that dream, right? So she lived with regrets. So as I became a teenager, we had a really, really rough life. We lived really poor in some really bad neighborhoods. Sometimes we didn't even have a home. And my older brother ended up getting caught up in the streets. And so when I was 16, he was murdered.
Mm.
And that left me with a decision to make. I was at a crossroads. Who am I? I have this really outspoken, popular brother, but who am I? And so in my journey to healing took a long time, but figuring out who I was came like that. I was a speaker. I got all of the things that he had in him came out of me. I
Mm.
got to know people instantly. I started bonding with everybody. I started learning my voice. I became a rapper, right? So through my teenage years and through college, I started rapping. And it got to the point where we started our own record label. I went touring. And, as I got older, I started to understand this was God's way of cultivating my voice. He was letting me do
Right,
the thing that I thought I liked, but it was really just practice.
right.
Really learn how to get out on these stages and in front of these cameras and do what he built me to do.
Yes, one of the things I've heard TD Jake say is it might not be the thing that you're supposed to do, but it's the avenue that will get you to the thing. It's the transportation, it's the path to
It
what it is. But
absolutely is.
along that path, like you said, it was preparation for
Yeah.
the final. Well, I won't say final because there's more
Yeah.
to come, but it just takes you from one thing to another. It's almost like all your experiences build to get you ready for the next stage
Yeah.
that
And a
God.
lot of times these are not easy steps, right? These are not the easy hard. It's not, so a lot of these things are really difficult to go through, but they're giving you the tools and the
Yeah.
strength and the sharpness you need for the next chapter.
So let's talk about confirmation. Every pregnant woman has to have that confirmation
Yeah.
from the doctor. So what was your confirmation that said, yep, you need to be a motivational speaker for a career and an author and an actor? Like and did it all happen at the same time, or like what came
No.
first? Speaking came first?
You know what? This is the thing, right? It's kind of, I love the way you have this patterned out because I don't know if you have a book out, but
I do have an ebook. Yes, I do have an ebook that goes with this workshop.
These are
Yes.
great chapters. I love the way this is patterned, right? But I will say this, it didn't come to me all at once, right? I didn't have the revelation all at once. It came to everybody who knew me. Anybody who would meet me, they knew instantly, you are made for something more than what you're doing, right?
Right.
And so I, like a lot of other people, I kind of missed a lot of my blessings, being selfish, not living right, and I was in trauma and not knowing it from the losses I had. After my brother died, a couple of years later, my mom passed away, right? So with me just being alone in the world, I took the wrong route of, not healing. I didn't understand how to heal. So I went through my 20s and early 30s just kind of in the backseat of my life. I was just going through the motions. I was in relationships that didn't stick. I was in relationships I didn't invest my all into. I wouldn't go to church, even though my mother raised me to go to church. I wasn't doing the things I knew I was great enough to do. I was doing good enough, right? I was thinking, I'm a good guy. So my relationship breaks up and I have a child out of wedlock. And I think that was my first wake up call, to start to see my life replayed, to see that my child is going to come into the world the same way I did. That was tough for me. That was difficult. So I started to evaluate, man, what's going on? What's wrong with me? Why am I not able to put it together the way I want to? And then I went to a therapist.
There it is.
I went to this therapist, and this was actually a marriage counselor. And, I called and I said, can I get a session? And she said, okay, when do you and your wife want to come in? And I was like, you know what? There's no wife. It's just me. I want to know what's wrong with me. And I'll never forget this. She said, well, you're halfway there already then.
That's good. That's good. Wow. Because you know that there's something wrong. That's the first step. You are not in denial.
Yeah. So I ended up going and I spilled my guts, told my life story, which actually ended up coming out in a book later on in my life. Sat with a real therapist, and I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder and panic disorder, right? So once I had these two things, I kind of knew what I had, knew what I was working with. Then I met a young lady I was interested in, who's now my wife.
Oh.
And in our first date, we sat down, and I remember she said, hey, what do you want to do with your life? And I was like, I've always wanted to be a writer, an author. I want to write a book. I got a lot in me. And she was like, well, you will be. You will be. And from that moment on, she was my biggest supporter, my biggest challenger, the person who pushes me to grow and face myself. Because that's the thing I didn't realize, that marriage isn't really about the other person. It's the first time you really have to know yourself.
Right.
And that was the journey I had to start to be on. So from that day on, I was in this journey to get out of the back seat, take the seatbelt off, get out of the child seat I was sitting in.
Right.
And have the courage to step out, get in the driver's seat and drive. And that's where my book came from.
Wow. So so you had confirmation from people.
Yeah.
And there are other confirmations that people may get. They feel like God spoke to them. They may have a dream or a vision or a prophetic, word or what. There's so many ways, but it seems like your biggest confirmation was people, and you kind of surrendered to that. And I like how your wife came and gave you a little bit more encouragement. So now it's time to, I guess, is that the first project was to write a book? Was that the first project?
Yeah, I needed to get my life out, right?
Okay.
I needed for people to know what happened.
And what's the name of that book?
It's called The Poet Who Watched the Whole Parade. And it came out in 2014, and it's my baby. It's my original baby.
Wow.
There's a chapter for my mom, my brother, my dad, and my grandmother, and my uncle, all of who have passed away. And I have a chapter with kind of detailing my experience with them. And then there's chapters in between kind of explaining how that equals who I am right now.
Wow. So let's talk about pregnancy attitude. Now it's time for you to put all this into paper,
Yeah.
onto paper. What was your attitude? Did you feel fearful, happy, excited? Were you a little concerned about, how I'm going to get this book out, publishing, whatever? What was your attitude about now, this project, this baby that you have to birth?
Well, I wasn't concerned about getting it out because I had done music for so long. So I
Mm,
knew what it looked like to make an album,
mm,
even have your own label and put music out.
okay.
So that part wasn't scary. I kind of approached it die hard, right? Like I was like, I know what I'm doing. I'm a writer. I've written lyrics forever. I
Oh,
put this book together.
confidence. You had an attitude of confidence.
Oh, I was extremely confident. And I remember I printed it out and it was like this thick, right? And I had the giant binder clip on it. And I flew to Georgia to visit my mother-in-law, and my wife was with me. And I gave it to her. And I was like, hey, read this. I'm done. It's good. And she gave it back to me with red pen all over it. And I mean, she just ripped this thing apart. And I remember the first thing she asked me was, did you read this?
Oh,
And I was like, what do you mean read it?
I lived it.
Yeah, I'm like, I lived it. And it dawned on me right in that moment. I was like, no, I didn't read it. I just kind of wrote it all together. She's like, well, here's the problem. You did live this, but I didn't. You have to write it so that it
Mm,
makes me feel like I lived it.
and understand it.
Yes. So I rewrote every word. And then we took it, and then publishers loved it and they wanted to put it out. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. So,
And that was a painful experience. I mean, that hurt. It hurt. Oh man, I was all up in my feelings, man. I was defensive. I was ready to argue. It was bad. Yeah. But it was the greatest thing that ever happened to my writing career.
so you had a little pride. You had a little prideful attitude.
A lot of it. A lot. A lot of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but at least you, within your pride, you had enough humility in you to say, I gotta listen and
Yeah.
I need to rewrite this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So through it all, you have to make those appointments
Mm,
with God because
yeah.
He's the one who's got to give you step-by-step direction to do what it is He's called you to do. So what did your appointments look like? Where you spoke to God, you got some instruction, correction,
Yeah.
and different things like that. Was it through prayer, praise and worship, Bible study, just going to church, journaling? What did your God appointments look like?
For me, a lot of it was through brotherhood, right? Because a lot of my pain came through losing a brother. So what God delivered to me was an army of new brothers, right? So take this to go back to my wife, when I first started when I let her know I seriously wanted to date her, she was like, listen, any man that dates me has got to be in the church. And I didn't go to church. I was one of those people, I felt pain, so I didn't go. But I knew of a church. So I was like, hey, we can go visit. And we went to visit. And as soon as we walked in the door, there was a man there. His name is Maurice Miller. And he's like, I had my daughter with me. She was like 4 at the time. And my then girlfriend. We walk in and he's like, hey, thank you for coming in. You are a great man of God and you have a beautiful family. And I was like, not a family, bro, but I appreciate the words. And he stopped me and he grabbed me and he said, no, this is a family and you are a great man of God. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But I'm telling you, this was almost 9 years ago. And to this day, that man is still one of my mentors. And I can still call him through anything. And
Yeah,
he was exactly right about what he saw in me.
yeah,
I just didn't know it yet.
right.
Right. So yeah, and throughout then, and he's not the only one. I got like 4 or 5 of these at this point where it's like these are men who show up and are available and show me what vulnerability is, what accountability is, and they help me grow. And I have to do things that I didn't used to do. Like when I don't know the answer, I'm gonna call them and say, help me, help me figure this out. I never would do that before, and I know a lot of people that I coach now, that's the part they struggle with, but that's the thing that helps us get over it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we talk about prenatal vitamins, and that looks
Mm.
like something different for everybody. So it seems like to me, your prenatal vitamins, your power pellets that kept you energized, built up, growing right. You had a lot of encouraging people, but did you get into the scriptures? Did you listen to encouraging songs, watch motivational videos, read some really good books? What else
A lot of
you
scripture,
do?
a lot of scripture, a lot of scripture memory. Colossians 3, huge, about teaching me how to be a new man.
Mm,
Um, life group, man. We have, get into a group where you can meet with other men who are going through similar things and be confidential and, be there for each other and hold each other accountable. Accountability
yeah,
for a man is everything. If nobody's there to hold men accountable, we take shortcuts. And that's all of us. You know what I mean? Our base nature is we are hunters.
right.
Hunters always look for efficiency of energy. Let me get what I'm looking for without expending a lot of energy. So in life, that can mean trying to be selfish and not accountable. We need an army around us. We need other hunters around us to be like, hey, you said you was going to do this. You said your wife was the most important thing to you. You said your family, you took vows. Don't do this. You need people to hold you accountable because we, by nature, take shortcuts.
Mhm. That's this world. It's a microwave world. We want
It
everything
is.
quick fix. Get
Yeah.
rich quick schemes, quick. So let's talk about restrictions.
Mm.
Every pregnant woman has restrictions. No drugs, no alcohol, no roller coaster rides, don't lift heavy objects, and whatever else she can't do. What are some of the restrictions you had to put on yourself to say, if I don't stop doing this, I could abort my baby?
Listen, learning how to prioritize, right? As
Okay.
long as I know that there's God here first before anything,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
Then I'm married, so I have to be one flesh with my wife. And then I'm a father, so I have to take care of my children. And then I have the other babies, right? Whether it be my books, my acting jobs, my music, they all come through an overflow of my relationship with God first and my union with my wife second. If I don't have those in order, I'm falling apart. So my restrictions are finding all the areas of my life where I'm out of order because we all got them. And right, so over the years, it's finding, all right, here's a place that I'm a little out of order in this. You know what I mean? Sometimes, especially for a creative, I could come up with a new book idea or see some acting job out there and say, hey, I'm going for it, regardless of what it takes. I'm going for it. I don't even pray on it. Don't talk to my wife.
Mm.
Don't work it out with that's out of order. It's out of order. So any idea, if the Holy Spirit brings something to me, first thing I do is pray on it. Then I go to my wife, like, listen, this is what I've been thinking. Probably gonna take up a little of my time. I know she's supportive, but we gotta be on that same page or God ain't gonna bless it, you know? So that's the biggest thing for me. Those restrictions as a man in our current society, we're told there's some things in your life, you in charge. You supposed to you a man, you supposed to be able to make the call. If you feel like going out and do that, go do that. But that don't work right? God won't bless that. And a lot of times we end up hindering our life by keeping those little areas of our life where we like, you know what, I'm a man and I'm in control of that. Nah, we ain't in control of that. And the more areas we have like that, the more are we blocking our blessings that way.
Yeah. And then when everything falls apart, you go run to your wife.
Go run to our wife, or we down on our knees praying about it.
Help me. I need an intercessor. Let's
Exactly.
pray fast. You didn't come to me before this.
Exactly. We gotta let them know up front. One of the things I learned about, especially in marriage, man, we gotta communicate everything, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I go to work and I have a horrible day and I get into it with somebody, if I come home and I don't tell my wife that, everything that we go through that night, we're not having the same experience. We could sit down and watch a TV show or a movie. We ain't watching the same movie because I'm coming from this feeling that she don't even know about. So we are apart
Right.
in this. We're not one,
Right.
and God ain't gonna bless that, right? So
Mhm.
we gotta learn how to share more and be open more. And in the same vein, when people are sharing, we gotta learn how to let them be human. It's okay. You know, if you mess up, you human.
Right.
You know, so it's that combination of the two.
That's good. That's good. You're saying some good stuff. Let's talk about Lamaze class.
Mm.
Most women go to Lamaze class to get education on how to birth that baby. So I hear a lot of therapy um, in your education, a lot of education coming from therapy. But for others, it may be school, webinar, internships, volunteering, job shadowing, or books. So what education did you have in order to be a writer and just do all motivational speaker, all the different things that you do besides the School of Hard Knocks and therapy? Any additional education?
Number one, I would tell people, follow God always. That's the number one school. A lot of times God gonna call us into doing something that the world tells us we're not prepared for or schooled enough for, but you gotta just go and do it. Because guess what? Even if you fail, that could still be a success in God's eyes. God wanted you to go through that experience. So a lot of my experience is the Holy Spirit putting it in me and me going for it. Even if I fail, throwing that caution to the wind. You know, like Paul when he walked, like Peter when he walked on the water. I'm not gonna look at the storm. I'm looking at God and I'm just gonna go. But other than that, you do want to make sure once you're in it, you know, there's so many tools, man. Online books. YouTube got a video for everything. No, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you don't even have access to a library or whatever. YouTube got a video for everything for free. So you can at least get a cursory knowledge of something.
Right.
But there's no excuse to not have just a little bit of knowledge of something if you seek it.
Mhm. How did you enhance your writing skills? Because she tore it up. She tore it up. She red
Yeah,
marked you.
yeah.
So
Well,
how'd you work on your grammar,
yeah.
be grammatically correct in your writing?
Well, for one, um, I don't think grammar is extremely important for the writer, right? I think it's important to have great editors. But
Oh,
I
they
think
do fix all that.
yes, I think the biggest point for me, and I think
Right.
one of your slides kind of alluded to it, are you well placed? Are you impacting the people you are meant to impact? And if that's the case, the grammar will work itself out,
Okay.
right? So for me, I did get better, but I got better because I realized the message I was supposed to get out and I hit it hard. I stay in my lane and I
Right.
hit that lane hard. And when you're doing that, the thoughts are very cohesive, right? Now, my wife is still my first editor, right? Because I go through multiple rounds of editing. So everything I write goes to my wife first for grammatical errors.
Right.
And also goes to professional editors after her. So yeah,
Right.
I still do 2 rounds.
Right. Good, good. So let's talk about the nursery.
Mm,
So what does that look like for you and all that you have to do? Funding, equipment, supplies, members, employees. These are just some
yeah,
examples. Marketing. What did you
I
need
think
to be able to write this book? Write these
yeah,
books and get your
one
name
of the
out there for motivational speaking and all that.
exactly. I think for one, when you brand yourself, one of the things I've learned, and shout out to B Fails, the branding bestie, who gave me this gem, that you have to know who you are, the top 3 things, right? And in order, right? So you should have a mental business card. You know, I'm walking around every day saying Jay Floyd is a motivational speaker first, right? That's my number one skill. The people who come to see me speak or see me speak can see something in my personality or my message that may lend them to either want me for an acting gig or want one of my books. So I'm an actor, author second. And those people may like my message so much that they want personal coaching, which means life coaching and everything else to start. So I think the biggest thing of the nursery is knowing where you put your energy. Because like if you have a baby in the nursery, you can't just throw all of your energy into one thing. They need to be fed as well as changed, as well as bathed. You can't just keep doing one thing and not do the other thing, right? So I think you have to know the priority. If the baby's crying, they're probably hungry or need to be changed. They're not going to cry for a bath. So you got to know what it is you need to do. So same for me. I take an allocated budget and I got to know, what am I going to hit first? Do I need to market? Am I finding, and marketing means, am I finding the people that I can help? Am I finding them? If the case is not, then that's where my energy goes. Let's market better, right? That's the thing of knowing who you are, right? And I think that's the thing. You can find there's a lot of people in the entrepreneurial space who can teach us this stuff. Reach out to them. Like I reached out to a B-Fells, or reach out to anybody else. There's a lot of branding experts. I work with my man, Manny Hall, who's a business expert who helps people
I'm doing
build their
his interview
entrepreneurship.
too.
Yeah,
I'm doing his interview tomorrow, I think. Manny. Yeah.
He's like a brother to me, man. Me and him are real cool. My wife knew him from way back in the day, so she linked me up with him, man. Me and him are really tight. So, those kind of people in the entrepreneurial space, they can teach you things and you can teach them, So I think that's the best thing I would say, just like if you have a baby, you can talk to other mothers who are going through similar things. Same thing with your entrepreneurship, no matter if you're doing acting, speaking, reach out to other people in the space and see how, even the barter system, drop some knowledge on them and let them drop some knowledge on you,
Now, Cleveland has a little negative reputation about, the whole crab in the bucket. Like a lot of people in Cleveland, it's good that you have a team around you that's willing to help you, and God gave you that brotherhood. But many find that there's just so much competition and no one wants to really help. You call people, well, I need a grant writer. Do you have one? Yeah. Information. Well, people holding on to a lot of information, a lot of connections. There's that fear. Have you experienced that as well?
I've experienced some of it, but you know what? I don't focus on it. For me, I rush past that. And I feel like if anybody is going to succeed, you're going to have to rush past it. You cannot focus on that noise. You know what I mean? Like the book of Genesis, when Adam and Eve and the serpent were punished, God said to Adam, everywhere you place your foot, there will be thorns. Even when Jesus came to the earth, his life was full of struggle. So we are meant to struggle in this world. So the way that I approach life is I embrace challenge. I embrace the struggle. If I live in a city that's known for a crabs in a barrel mentality, okay, that's just the city I live in. I still love it. Let's get up, and I'm going to find all the people that are not like that.
Right.
I'm not
they are plenty out there who are.
Yeah, and I feel like that's just a bigger challenge on me, right? Because if God has it in the books for me to succeed, he's got those people out there that'll help me. It's my job to be sharp enough to reach to them. If I'm in a room with 5 people and all of them are crabs in a barrel, it's my job to leave that room.
Right.
Not stand in that room. I'm going to go to another room. I look at it like on your social media feed. I always see a lot of people say, man, social media is so negative. Everybody on Facebook is saying this. No, everybody on your friend list is saying that.
Right.
The list is up to you. You have every right to delete all of those people and re-add new friends at any time.
Right.
Our friend list is always a reflection of who we are.
Right. Well, see, that was the thing. You wanted to get a lot of friends. Well, how many followers do you have? How many did that was the big thing. But if you look at my page, I don't have that. I don't follow many people because I do not want all that negativity. So I'm very careful of who I follow on my social media page because I don't deal with that.
It's a tool.
I don't care about how many followers I've got,
Absolutely.
because I I want the right people.
That's exactly what you want. It could be 10, but if it's the right 10,
Come
that'll
on.
lead you where you need to go.
Yes, and that's where I'm at. So let's talk about prioritizing. You talked a little bit about it already,
Sure.
but I mean, you're a husband, a father, an actor. You just got finished filming,
Yeah.
a movie, writer, motivational speaker, then you mentor. How are you juggling all of this to avoid overloaded schedules, get that proper rest, to avoid fatigue and burnout?
Well, one thing about, I always tell people, man, every great coach has a coach. And I
Right.
do. I have a wellness coach and I have other mentors that help me out all over the place, right? And my wellness coach always gets me together on, are you getting enough rest? You know, I had a goal this year that I was going to, even though as soon as the movie wrapped, I said I'm going to take on 5 new clients. That's my new goal. 5. People say I'm trusting God to do big things. And I did that. And I immediately got all 5 of those clients. And I met with my wellness coach and she was like, you know what? I think you need to let all 5 of those clients go.
Oh,
And I'm like, whoa. And she's like, yeah, you trusted God for some big things. And he showed up. But you also have to show God that you're going to be responsible with what he's given you. And when you're doing too much, you got to know when to pull back. And so I did, and it helped. But in the way that I did it was I found other coaches and recommended all those people to other coaches. So I helped other people get business at the same time
without leaving them high and dry.
without leaving them high and dry. So, you got to have a coach. You got to listen and be teachable. If you're not teachable, you're not really going to succeed in God's purpose for you, because God wants us all to be teachable at all times. You do got to get your rest. And, doing too many things is you have to know who you are and how you're driven. And the kind of person I am, doing too many things is a danger. So
Right.
I got to communicate with my wife. How you feeling about the schedule? We have a shared Google Calendar. Everything that I do goes into that calendar and she's attached on it. She sees everything on my schedule so we can discuss, hey, I saw you book this, book that. How are we doing on this week, this month is not so good. You may want to pull back. I got to be one with her on that, and then I got to be honest with myself on, not only am I doing too much, but if the things that I'm doing, are they the right things?
Right.
Do I need to streamline? And, I focus on that a lot, streamline, because we don't need to do everything.
Right.
Like I always say, the enemy of great is doing too many good things. Doing too many good things will keep you from doing that one great thing you was meant to do.
Right.
So that's a thing I know I could be susceptible to that too. So I got to be honest with myself and say, hey, am I doing too much? Every day.
Every good
Streamline.
thing's not a God thing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I pray on it. Like, God, please show me the thing that you specifically designed me for.
Right.
Because it's not going to be all of this, And I mean, it
And
goes down to
you're
even
too
the
busy to
smallest.
spend time with him. Some people are so busy, they don't even have that time to spend with him,
Exactly.
who's the author of all of this that he's
And if we
called you to
don't do
do.
that,
Right.
then we lose that vertical relationship. And
Yes.
the vertical is what's feeding the horizontal. And so if we lose that vertical, our friendships, our trust starts to fall apart because we ain't got no overflow.
That's good. That's good. Let's talk a little bit about contractions and labor pains.
Mm.
Mm. Everybody, every time we get to this part, everybody,
Yes.
or they put their hand
Yeah.
so no pain, no gain. We know that.
Okay.
So, that could look like some roadblocks, some temptations, some negative people, naysayers, something to come in and make you almost want to say, yeah, I'm not going to do this. I'm not,
Yeah.
it makes you want to not go forward. Did you ever experience any labor pain? Something happened when you're like, I don't know about this project.
All the time. All the time. Listen, all the time. To speak on my acting career, right?
Yes.
I didn't view myself as an actor. Right?
Okay.
I actually didn't view myself as an author until I had a conversation with my man Bashir Jones, and I said something like, "I'm trying to be an author," and he stopped me, and he said, "No, you were born to be an author. You already are." The same goes with acting or anything you have a pursuit for, right? So in going into being an actor, I had someone at my church said, "You know what? You have a great presence. I think you'd be a good actor. Let me get you in this video, this music video, this gospel music video, in an acting scene." I did it. He's like, "You're great." The next day, he sent me a text message, and he's like, "Hey, CBS is having some auditions for a sitcom, and they're looking for a father to play the father of the little girl who plays in the TV show Empire. Go down and audition." I was like, "Okay, when is it?" "Tomorrow morning at 8. I'm like, what? He's like, "Yeah, all you need is a headshot, an acting resume, and like a little manuscript to go down and recite." And I'm like, so I'm getting ready to text him back, like, "I don't have any of those things." And it dawned on me, he already knows I don't have any of those things.
Mm.
And he still sent me the message. So I put my phone up, pulled my laptop out, opened up Google and said, "How do you make an acting resume with no experience?" Boom, instructions right there. "How do you get a headshot if you've never been an actor before?" Boom, instructions right there. Everything was right there. There was no real hurdle. And I think so many times we think there's a roadblock. There is no roadblock. God is just asking you to get better, right? Like, it's the difference
Good.
between an enemy and an adversary. Yeah, there's some enemies out there, but most people are just adversaries. They just here to make it a little bit harder because God wants us a little bit sharper,
That's
right?
awesome.
Because we can talk all day about the haters or the people who have negative things to say, but listen, one of the things I remind myself of all the time, nothing ever happens in this world that God doesn't allow.
Right.
So even if somebody does have something negative to say or do, God allowed it. So that means he wants me sharper. It don't matter about them.
Right.
He let it happen. So he obviously wants me to go through this hurdle. He
Good.
don't
That's
want me to
good.
stop and go home. You know, I always, like when I do my speeches, I have a story that I tell about track meets. You ever been to a track meet? When you show up, there's hurdles on the track. The track team doesn't go home because they know they came there to jump those hurdles. They came there because it's that hard and they're that good,
Ah,
right? When we come and see the hurdles, you don't go home. You just jump them. That's all.
that's right. That's good. Oh, I love that. So let's talk a little bit about postpartum depression. Every woman doesn't experience this, and you may not have. But did you ever experience a little lull feeling after any of your projects? Maybe because you had unrealistic expectations, there was a greater cost than you expected, maybe slow development. Did you experience that?
Every single time. Everything
What?
that I do,
Every single time.
every single thing that I do, I'm like, wow, that didn't go as large as I wanted it. I'm gonna hit it harder next time.
You want it
It's
larger?
always want it bigger. Always. Like my book, I take my book sales, right? I got a lot of everybody who read the book said they loved it. They said their lives were impacted by it and it did exactly what I meant for it to do. But my initial reaction was, why didn't 50,000 people buy it, right? And so then my conversations with God, he said, the people bought it that I told you to write it for.
Right.
And that's why you're getting the reviews you're getting. So my mind was telling me, if I'm getting those type of reviews, why didn't thousands more people buy it? God was letting me know the people who needed it got it. That's why they're reviewing it like
That's
that.
important. People think numbers are everything, and numbers aren't everything. God did a lot of things in the Bible with few. I mean,
Yeah.
he even told people, get rid of all these people, get rid of those
Yeah.
soldiers, get rid of all, you got how many? 900? No. And then I got rid of people, get rid of more, and get rid of more. So it's not always about the numbers. It's not quantity, it's quality.
Yeah.
you know, and everybody can't have $1 million business. So when you do these projects and stuff, you have to ask God, what do you, how is this supposed to look? That, is this $1 million business? How far am I supposed to go with this acting? Am I just supposed to stay locally? Am I supposed to go to Hollywood? Like, everybody can't be a Hollywood actor, so you have to figure out from God, since he told you to do, what this looks like versus what we think it should look like. And then I think we can avoid some of that postpartum depression.
The acting thing helped me a lot because it wasn't a pursuit, right? It was something that God just put out there as an avenue for me. So when I went into acting and auditioning, I never was like, I gotta get this role and I gotta get famous. And that helped me have the perfect expectation on it, right? It also helped me not be nervous going to audition, right? And no matter what the movies do, I know I'm in this for the people to see me that God wants to see me, and the people to get a message that God wants to have. And I'm fine with that.
That's how I say about the Birthing Purpose workshop. And anything else I do is who it's for.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, don't worry about the numbers. Because then when you're worried about numbers, sometimes that's pride, little ego coming in there, A
lot.
And so then now you pulling God out of it. It's about you.
Yeah.
And you beating yourself on the chest, So
we find that in everything. I remember that from music and writing books, all of that. I can remember, you see somebody else become some million-selling platinum artist or sell 50,000 copies of some book, and you think, man, I thought my book was just as good or better. And it's like, but wait a minute. Is that what the purpose is for? You always have to remind yourself, am I looking for numbers, right? Because here's the thing, there's nothing wrong with a lot of sales.
No.
But I'm never going to be a prosperity-based person because I don't believe in that.
Right.
I feel like God gives us the exact number you're supposed to have. I remember when my brother passed away, he was 19. I was 16. And somebody told me at that time, that's not an untimely death. Everybody lives the exact number of days they're supposed to live. And I never forgot that. And it didn't make sense to me then. But as I got older, it made perfect sense. And I feel the same way when it comes to everything that we're blessed with, no matter if it's days, no matter if it's cars, houses, dollars, banking, we're going to have exactly the amount that God wants you to have. And it don't matter what the number is. If God wants you to affect millions of people, he's going to do it like that. Whether you got $50 or 50 billion, he's going to make it happen if you step up.
You got to do your part, right?
You got to step up and do your part and be faithful and trust and do the work.
Mm-hmm.
You make it happen.
Let's talk about premature birth. Did you step out too soon on anything?
Yes.
And for reasons, here are some examples. Were you impatient, wrong motives, little pride, trying to earn God's love, or just lack of knowledge?
Well, I would say when I got into acting, I got in because someone else told me I had it, right? And I won't say this was premature, but when I went for that audition on that TV show, I got the role. And I don't think anybody there expected me to get it. I didn't expect to get it, but I trusted that God was going to just do what he was going to do. I got the role. And that moment, the excitement kind of rose. It was like, oh, okay, we got a real role here on a real show, on a real network. And then the show was canceled before we even started filming. So it was kind of one of those things where my mind started to work and my ego started to fire up. And God was like, wait a minute. I just did that to show you what I can do in your life if you stick with me. So if you're still faithful, I got more. You don't get this one, but stick with me and I got more.
And to show you how that look, some rised up in you, and that got to still be built before I
felt it rise a little bit.
No, you can't go there with all that still.
Exactly. He was like, it was like, no, not like that. but stick with me and you got the next one. You know?
Right. Clean up first. I'm showing you what you had to clean up before we go up.
Yeah.
So, we talk about overdue pregnancy. Is there anything right now you feel like I gotta get this going? But is there a little fear there? Lack of funding, lack of exposure, anything? Or are you right on time? Are you right where you need to be?
I feel like all of the above. You know, I always feel like all of the above. I feel like God is so capable. You know, if I could do a little more, then he could work a little more. But that doesn't work. It doesn't work that way, right? So I always drive myself a little too much. And I feel like I could have done more. But I feel like I'm doing good, you know? But I do challenge myself every day, you know, and I talk about that in my book, which is right here.
Yep, we're gonna
Driver's
showcase
seat.
that baby. We sure are.
Yeah, you know, and we talk about the fact that not everybody is an alpha. You know, not everybody wakes up every day with the drive to go and change the world. But we all have the tools to get up there, right? So I may be an omega, but if I know that I'm an omega, I have the tools. God gave me all the tools to wake up every day and become an alpha for his purpose. I can be an alpha for what he created me to do, right? Every day I just got to wake up and do it. And that's overcoming my flesh, because the alpha, omega, all that's just flesh. That just means the way my brain chemicals are built, are balanced, that I'm more calm. But I can fire myself up if I know that's what I need to do to get what I need done, right? And so that's what I do. I know if I have a cell phone in my pocket that's as powerful as a computer that used to take up 4 rooms, that's a powerful tool that God has placed in all of our pockets.
Right.
I can use that as a tool and not a toy, right? So I can make my social media feed motivate me in the morning. I can set my alarm, and I can even name my alarm so that it pops up and says, oh, this is another day God gave you. Hop in the driver's seat. I can do all of those things to fire me up. I can have a Bible verse ready for me as soon as I hit that phone. Because I got a computer in my pocket. Why not use it? Right? So those are the kind of things that we can do to just charge ourselves up and do as much as we can to, you know, stay going. That way you don't have so many overdue pregnancies. You know what I mean? You can stay on task. If I know I'm not a guy that sticks to a calendar, okay, all of a sudden everything I'm doing is make sure I put that calendar in my face all day. All day. You got no excuse not to. Everybody from 80 to 10 has a cell phone. You have all the tools you need.
That's true. You're right, we do. Red flags. Here are some, just some. These are just some. There's so many, but here are some. To purpose. Red flags to purpose. If your purpose has you neglect, disobey, or denounce God, if your purpose has you neglect yourself, your immediate family, if your purpose has you neglect your other purpose, you say God called you to do, so now your purposes are battling.
Yeah.
If you are no longer interested in your so-called purpose, if your purpose is illegal, immoral, or unethical, and if your purpose changes your character from the way of love, these are red flags.
That's huge.
That's huge, right? Now you got it going on. You such a much. You looking down on people. You know, not walking in love and all that stuff, huh? You had any red flags? I'm sure. Who doesn't have red flags, right?
Oh yeah. You know, one thing for me, which has been, you know, I came up through my 20s and 30s as a rapper, right? Like I never was a gangster rapper or nothing hardcore, but for me, you know, I was actually a positive rapper, but my rap was about me. It was very egocentric and self-centered. So when I made the transition into speaking for the Lord and being a what I call God's microphone, when I made that transition, you know, it was I reached a point in my music career where I had to say, I'm giving this to God, right? I had to put that, you know, we all reached that point where we got to put something on the altar.
Yes.
I had to put that on the altar, right? My rap career, I gave that to him. And I said to God, this is a few years ago, I said, listen, this is yours. Thank you. Thank you for even giving it to me. I enjoyed my time in it. If you want me to use it again, I'm sure you will give it back to me in the way that you want me to use it.
Right.
And so now, fast forward 3 years, I get approached with other opportunities to now become a Christian rapper and speak in those terms. And that I can start approaching,
Right.
right?
Right.
And maturing my message, opening up my notepad and writing and having so many books and speeches and many sermons written that now my raps sound like what God wants them to sound like. When I'm bragging about him now. So for me, the red flag was I did have a conflict. And I'm always going to have that conflict, and I'm always going to have to work through that day by day. You know, his mercies are renewed every day.
Yeah.
I'm always going to have to ask, am I still on course? Do I need to give this back to you? And that's with everything, you know, do I need to give this back to you? You know, even with acting, if I'm approached with a certain type of role, it may be luring with money, but I'm going to have to say, is this something that I got to just put on the altar? It ain't for me. You know?
Yeah.
So the red flags is huge for me. That's just one of the areas where it's been.
Right.
You know?
During the wait, I tell people who are still struggling, you know, after the workshop, they're like, okay, I got an idea, but I still don't know. So during the wait, I tell them to stay in God's presence, do what is right in the sight of the Lord, walk in the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, self-control, share the gospel, save souls, spread knowledge, be grateful, stop complaining, and make no comparisons. Don't compare yourself to anybody else or what they're doing or what you should have done because so-and-so did this, yada, yada, yada. Do these things during the wait, and this is purpose too. This is all purpose too. And you will surely get to where it is that God has you to be. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, being faithful while you're waiting for whatever the reward might be, is important. That's why I think overall, not even just being patient before the reward, but being a person not driven by the reward is the ultimate goal, right? Really, because Jesus is about changing hearts.
Right.
He is not about changing behaviors. He's about changing hearts. When your heart changes, your behavior follows. We don't want to be, I think that's where a lot of churches and a lot of people in the past have gone off the rails and, not been so effective. If you strictly just try to change behavior, it's going to go back. Mm-hmm. So you want to change your heart, right? So I think, being patient and being a person who, even if the reward never comes, man, I think about, Shadrach and them.
The reward is in heaven, though, for God saying, good and faithful servant. Come on in.
Absolutely. The reward may never come in what we're looking for down here. Like I think about the brothers when they got thrown into the fiery furnace, and they said that God will deliver them. Their very next sentence was, even if he don't, I'm still going to praise him, though, even if he don't. And that's one of the things I always think about my grandmother, because she was that kind of person. She didn't have much money. She didn't have much in life, but she was always singing about the Lord and always had joy. Mm-hmm. And I didn't understand why, but now I understood, because it's like, she wanted a lot of money, but even if it don't come, she had Jesus on her lips and she was singing and she was smiling,
Yeah. Yeah, I think when we're obedient to what God wants us to do, the blessings come in so many different ways. I mean, it could be just you're healthy. Yeah. Your body is not stricken with cancer. Your whole family was saved. It's not about people clapping you or your bank account being swollen. It's you're healthy. Your whole family is saved. Just all these other ways that you could be blessed, but we're always looking for it in this way. And God is like, I'm doing so many other things. The job you have, the other opportunities that may come to you. It's not just the way you may be looking for it.
And you know what I struggled with? That was one of the questions I had earlier in my life. You know, when I was running from the church and running from God, that was one of my questions is, what exactly is a blessing? I didn't know what constitutes a blessing because, you know, you see people hit the lottery and they say, oh, it was such a blessing. Or you win the Super Bowl, such a blessing. You know, but the thing that, you know, and this is still a journey for me to learn it. We're all on the journey learning. But the thing that God's spoken to me so far is a blessing is any opportunity to give glory to God.
That's it.
Right. And to me, because I found it in my life, some of the biggest blessings were the worst days of my life. But God showed up. You know what I mean?
Right.
But God, anytime I could say, but God,
yes,
that has been a blessing to me. Because then other people can see it, or I can tell other people, and God is spread and God has glory. So to me, ultimately, you know, some things I love, you know, I'm married, I had children, I got a roof over my head. These are all great. But to me, the ultimate blessing is the fact that I woke up today with another opportunity to give God some glory.
Yes,
You know,
definitely.
having a roof over my head won't mean nothing if I can't really give God glory. It could go against me if I'm not using it right, you know? Having money in my bank account can be the wrong thing. It could be
I mean, because you're not doing the right thing with it.
Exactly. Winning the lottery could be the worst thing that could happen to somebody.
We've seen people who it wasn't a good thing for them to win the lottery. If you have a drug habit, you winning the lottery is not a good thing, because money basically magnifies your issues. If you're not a good person and you get a lot of money, your pride goes up, your ego goes up. You know, your drug habit increases. You know, you're a killer, you killing more people. You got more money to pay for contracts on people, you know. I mean, so yeah, money will magnify who you are. You're a giving, loving person. You're going to give more. You're going to love more. So it really magnifies who you are. So yes, a lot of money is not what's always a blessing. And then too, something you said earlier, you were looking at people and you're like, well, they're doing this and this looks great and this and that. We don't even know if they're operating in purpose. You know, they may be doing all this lucrative stuff over here, and God is like, I did not tell them to do that.
Yeah.
Because the devil know how to make some things happen too.
You're right.
So everything that what they say, everything that glitters is not gold or God ordained and things like that. So we got to be careful of during the way, don't make comparisons. Yeah. And then you don't even know how people got what they got.
You don't know what they went through
to get it. Some behaviors, you got this role because you did some things that you weren't supposed to do. I don't want to get a role like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I don't, some people have, oh, they having a nice car. I wish I had a nice car. Their parents passed away and left them money. You want your parent to pass away, you get money, so you get that. You come on now. There's people, so we got to just stop making comparisons, because you don't know how people got what they went through and the pain and suffering behind it and things like that.
You're absolutely right.
And the amazing thing, like you said earlier, God is an awesome GPS. He will get you back on track when you need him to.
Absolutely.
Like you said, his grace and mercy, you said it. His grace and mercy will reroute you.
And we need them every day.
Yes.
Every day. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I do. Every day.
Oh, I definitely do. So let's showcase your baby. Let's give people a little bit of information on how to get to you, and just show them a little clip from this movie that's coming out June 20th, and show them about your book. So tell them how to reach you.
Yeah, so again, my name is Jay Floyd of Jay Floyd Speaks Life. You will see Jay Floyd Speaks Life on anything that I do. So if you go to Facebook, you'll see my page there. Instagram, Twitter, all Jay Floyd Speaks Life. My email is jfloyd1@gmail.com. And also my YouTube channel is where you can find all of my content. You can find all the speeches that I give, all the appearances I made on radio, all of my podcast episodes for Jay Floyd Speaks Life podcast. You can find all of that on YouTube right now. And also you can find the trailer to this movie that's coming out called A State of Mind, directed by
Yeah.
Mike Berry.
Yeah, let's show them a little bit of this movie trailer. State of Mind. Where we at? Let's play it.
Ma, stay here. Raymond, you all right? So, what's up with Darius? He's going through something and I don't know what to do. What is he saying? He ain't saying much.
Depression can be brought on for any number of reasons. Dear Darius, you're too young to completely understand why I did what I did. I don't want you to ever think that it was because I didn't love you.
I don't know what I'd do if you die, Pops.
You gotta be stronger, cuz.
Strong like who, Fred? My Pops killed himself. You know that? I just need for it to ease up.
Depression mean you weak. And only weak cats get depressed, man.
Get ugly real quick, G.
Ain't no room out here for no weak cats.
Would you love me any less if I was gone?
No. No, I love you just the same.
Exactly.
What do you want me to do, D? You're not telling me nothing.
Damn, Pops! Why'd you leave me here to do this shit by myself?
Whatever you're going through, I'm going through. But you gotta talk to me, baby, if you want me to help you.
Darius, I ain't gonna make it home. The drama. The drama.
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
excited about
You know, I love the story.
that.
There's a saying that goes, and I know a lot of us have heard of this
Y'all
about.
gotta go see that. Go see
Yeah.
that.
I gotta see that.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna make it home. You making it home, Jay. You
Yeah.
making it home.
Hey, you gotta go see it. Listen, it's a really important story about mental health and it's illnesses when not addressed and how that can be passed on through the generations. So, you know, there's a lot of details that you'll find out about my character, my son, even my father in the story. So you'll see 3 generations spoke about in that movie. It's really, really big. And I think it's really important for the Black community right now because it's something that we need to discuss. We need to start having these conversations more openly and really start dealing with this stuff.
Wow. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your journey. I gotta get those books. You know, I do. I want to sew into your ministry. And yeah, the driver's seat.
Get the driver's seat. Also, I teach workshops on this. I'll be doing one online in the next week or 2. So be on the lookout for that. And it'll be free. Free workshops, online Zoom workshops.
Oh, good. Let's talk about free.
Yeah.
Interested?
There you go.
Free coaching. There's a lot of people out there that need coaching. We just gonna share the coaching.
Exactly.
Or deliverance session. I do deliverance as well. You can reach me, Lana, on Instagram at Birthing Purpose with Lana. Email birthingpurposewithlana@gmail.com and my website if you want to learn more about deliverance and when the next coming Birthing Purpose workshops are. Visit libertyinchrist.life. Wow. This was great. This was great. I got to share this interview with some people. I'm like, you need to listen to this. This guy's saying something. He's speaking life. So, yeah. So I'm going to be looking out and watching out for all your babies that are coming.
Please do.
And sending some people your way. Because people need what you are offering.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Take care.
All right.